I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is the presence of strong fathers that determines the success of a society. You show me the fathers of a society and I'll show you the future of that society. A strong patriarchy upholds boundaries and facilitates order and stability. Our partiality and deference toward the feminine is the destructive force that is tearing the fabric of our societies apart. One doesn't have to look too far to see the massive debts, feminine men, and surfeit of single moms and third world immigration to see that we have truly transitioned into gynocracy. After a century of freedom, or shall I say freedom from responsibility, women have demonstrated that they cannot handle social, financial, and career freedom. They can't save money, they spend frivolously, they choose badly when it comes to dating, and their choice to attend university have only left them in debt and indoctrinated. Our grandfathers and fathers dropped the ball. They relinquished their patriarchal responsibility of preserving the dignity of women through strong boundaries. I recently was sent a circa 1700s letter by a subscriber that goes by the Twitter handle J. Wellsberg. It was written in his native language and he beautifully translated it into English. Penned by a father to his newly married daughter, the letter is full of wisdom that has been lost. Wisdom that had once been shared knowledge in our culture. The father instructed his daughter on the proper way to conduct herself, something that is desperately missing today. Now that you're married to a man of your liking, albeit it was my choice, I proposed him to you so that faith would decide upon your destinies. He whom you have chosen as husband has a pleasant character. He is brave, discreet, and gentle, easygoing, and devoted to you. All these traits promise me that he will never treat you with an imperious attitude. It is then up to your good behavior to preserve his love and to gain his will and authority in all your deliberations. Given that the husband is primarily the head of the family and the woman is his subordinate, you have no legitimate alternative but to succumb, to be complacent and tender in order to participate in his authority, bowing to his wants and his commands. Because the happiness of the husband can only be retained by doing all that he desires and suffering patiently, even if the woman dislikes it. A woman needs guidance in her life, whether it be from her father or her husband. Like I said earlier in the video, women are unable to make prudent life decisions, as demonstrated by the last 100 years of failure. Here the father explains the role she will play in the relationship with her husband. There is no longer a burden on the wife to fulfill that role in today's age. She is always seen as the victim. Modern relationships and marriages have become a means to enrich lives of the woman at the man's expense. When you find him tender and with joyous spirit, give him your advice, but with sweetness and without giving him the impression of domination. Do not presume he loves you as much as you love him, nor believe he owes you the caressing you desire, for as men are not as caring as women, and the latter must, at this point, be willing to exceed their love, for if not, they will be unhappy. This paragraph illustrates perfectly the biological predilections of the male and female sex. This wisdom has been washed from our minds thanks to the feminist Marxist propaganda of the last century. Now we find it normal to have chicks with dicks and for husbands to be subservient to their women. Moreover, this father elucidates on the appropriate deportment of a woman, sweet and non-domineering. It is a fact that in the West today, women have attempted to take control of the role of a man. More and more women are crass, unruly, impertinent, and curse like sailors. It will be one of your main tasks to have ready everything necessary for your husband and all that he uses, so that when he comes home, he misses nothing, because only then he will acknowledge the purity of your intentions, the nobility of your feelings, and the generosity of your sacrifices. I don't need to remind you the importance of cleaning his clothes, as this care is the prerogative of your sex. As there may arise a situation in which he returns home drenched by the rain, it is then very important that you yourself help him change his clothes and tuck him in bed, so that he may regain his strength. With said displays of care and affection, you do not lose, but rather gain his love and appreciation in advance. Women naturally correspond to the domestic work, therefore you should not try to interfere in the affairs of your husband's work. unless of course he communicates them to you himself. Then holding your opinion to his, you will then tell him frankly what you feel. Here is something you will never hear in this day and age. The job of a wife is to tend to a home and to the husband. People today, it seems, both liberal and conservative, have negative knee-jerk reactions when a woman chooses to stay home and be a housewife. It is ingrained in our culture that housework for a woman is slave work. The indoctrination of 100 years of feminist propaganda did indeed work. This father describes a blissful household, in my opinion. In today's age, usually both sexes work, which leaves the housework mostly unfinished until the weekend. Both get home stressed, and they rush to have dinner and pay bills before having to repeat the cycle the next day. And if there are children in the picture, they are further neglected after a full day of school when their stressed parents try to get them fed and ready for bed instead of spending quality time with them. The feminist agenda has truly taken the blissful household and turned it into a stressful and toxic environment. No wonder no one is having children in the West anymore. In Potosi, where you will reside, there are many charismatic and dandy young people, dedicated to seeking their own entertainment. These are of three qualities: some libertines who scandalize, others importunate fools, and the rest pedants who annoy, are spoiled and pretentious, whose most infamous corruptions, says an author, are for them to dispute the most delicate pleasures, the glory of excesses, and which aim to cause the disgrace of families, to seduce women and discredit them. Beware of them, my beloved daughter, and by no means allow them to enter your home, because as King Solomon once said, "He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm." Here her father warns his daughter of people who are able to corrupt others, especially young women. Because fathers have abdicated their paternal duties in the West, there is no guiding force to steer their daughters away from bad actors and bad decisions. With the ladies of your milieu, be courteous, affable, and kind, attentive to their corresponding needs, but do not befriend nor form intimate bonds with any of them without first having certain knowledge of their virtues, honor, and judgments, because without these qualities, true friendship cannot exist. Another message that is lost today: seek not revelry and fun from others, but virtues. So many people, especially teens and those in their early 20s, seek friends for their ability to have a good time, drink, do drugs, party, etc. And usually the more daring and raucous a man is, the more popular he is. For a woman to be popular, however, all she has to do is be willing to spread her legs. Friendship is now all about perpetual revelry, instead of virtue as it should be. Women, when they are more flattering, they are also more false. They say one thing and have another in their hearts. They praise their friends as discreet, beautiful, and gallant, but after they turn their backs, they bring out the flaws they truly imagine. Therefore, never believe their praise, for they are nothing but a false coin. But if they make you notice of defects you may have, patiently admit the correction to make amends. This is one of my favorite passages of the letter. He warns his daughter of the nature of women. In media and society today, women are seen as infallible angels, capable of everything good and incapable of any malevolence. This father knows the true nature of women, however. Unlike men who uses negotiation because there's always a threat of violence, women are more pernicious. They curry favor insidiously from some and talk behind the backs of others. Many times they use manipulation to get what they want. Do not be an idolater of your own beauty, nor spend time in front of the mirror trying to enhance it with excessive decorations. Your beauty must be seen as a flower that soon withers, and the sovereignty of marriage allows but only a few days the privileges of beauty, which only lasts if it is adorned with honesty. You must only look beautiful for your husband, for he is to look at your heart and not your face. A regular grooming will captivate him without you getting overtired of dressing up thinking about improving your own nature. If women had jurisdiction to dress the factions with finery, tailored and fashions of symmetry, and to the configuration of the members, they would raise a despotic court of the debts of affection. Women are rich early in their lives, insofar as they have beauty and fertility. Then they are able to attract a decent man with just their looks. But that wealth, so to speak, fades quickly. Their beauty is only for reproduction, not for vanity. This is a message that the modern woman never received. They waste their fertile and beautiful years indulging in themselves. Then at 30, they panic, seeking out any man who is around, or worse, the government for assistance. All this wasted time in a woman's life is a huge burden on the economy and society as a whole. Do not be vain and wasteful in profusions, galas, celebrations, and other imprudent expenses. A just economy without the display of misery must be the character of the prudent woman. If a husband is forced to comply with the demand of excessive expenses, he becomes exasperated and insensitively ruined. How many opulent families and faculties are now nothing but a resemblance of Troy, burned and destroyed with their vanities? Please, let this serve as a warning so that separating yourself from the roughness of this path, you will walk instead through a just and secure economy. Another salient point by this man: he is familiar with women's tendency towards profligacy when it comes to resources. It is true, when a woman's pocketbook is not governed by a father or husband, their reckless spending habits have the potential to ruin themselves or their family. And it is never, never the responsibility of the woman to clean up her financial mess. Whether it is daddy government, a beta simp, or society, the debt will be settled by someone or something else, never the woman. Let's face it, this letter would never see the light of day now. If it were somehow to appear in the collective psyche of the public, it would be immediately demonized. It would of course be compared to fascism and Nazism, and the man who wrote it would be called misogynistic and a pig. And this is a shame. This letter is fantastic. It contains axiomatic truths not only about feminine nature but human nature. It contains wisdom that we were never taught, unfortunately. Now I'd like to thank the subscriber again for the letter and the kind words he had. He did an incredible job at translating this, and I hope you got a lot out of this video. Thanks for watching.